Great, we are going to take one more minute to get anybody else into the classroom and for you guys to get set up on your Nearpod. There's Samaj. Go ahead and start turning on those videos so I can see your lovely faces because we are going into a very long weekend and I won't get to see you for 4 more days. Thank you, Giovanni. Thank you, Ciara. Thank you, Eddie, for having your cameras on. Good morning, Giovanni. Great. And let's go ahead and get started. Now is a good time. I'm going to give us 1 more minute. Please check to see who is not on the call. Text your friends. Say, come join us for APUSH. We're going to have a big lecture, and lectures are always the worst to miss because it's never as good when you just get to copy down notes from people. Every class of APUSH is the worst to miss, but lecture days are especially the worst to miss. And there we go. And I am currently getting my screen set up so I have Nearpod on half and Zoom on the other half. Make sure you do so as well. Good morning, Heaven. Thank you for turning on your camera. Appreciate it. And again, if you ever get kicked off of the Nearpod during class, the Nearpod link is now in the Google Classroom assignment. I am norming that. I am starting the Nearpod about 15 minutes early every morning and copying and pasting both the link and the Nearpod code into the classroom assignment. So if you want to be super punctual like Eddie and get here like 20 minutes early, which I love, you can go ahead and start getting yourself set up because all of those materials will be there ready to go. Heaven, can you please read our materials for the day on the left-hand side?
Paper for notes, writing utensil, Google assignment pulled up, Nearpod access,
Beautiful, thank you. Yes, all other tabs closed is super important so that way we can run into as few tech issues as possible. And Ciara, can you please read our norms and agenda side on the right-hand side?
Norms and agenda, do now, lecture, how to access the AP classroom and exit ticket.
Beautiful, thank you so much. And let's go ahead and review our class norms. Remember, camera on as much as possible so I can see your lovely faces. Microphones muted unless we are speaking. You guys are super great about this, so thank you for that. Reminder, try to use your Chromebooks or your laptop so that way you can use both Zoom and Nearpod as efficiently as possible. And make sure you are signed into your Troy Prep email account. That is usually the reason why, if we're having issues accessing assignments, usually comes down for the email. Thank you, Yabdi, for asking for the Nearpod code. You should be able to find it in the Google Classroom assignment. And I will resend the link in just a moment, okay? As always, Google Classroom assignments will be sent in the chat to make sure that we are avoiding any technical issues with access. Make sure we are only using the chat when prompted. And if you have any questions, feel free to private chat me. I always review these chats. So if I miss it in the middle of class, I will be able to find it later on. And finally, make sure we are using the hand raise feature in Zoom so that way I can know that we have some questions. Great, I am now going to resend out the Nearpod link and I will start listing out names to make sure we are in there. Do this to everybody. There you go. And for everybody trickling in, thank you guys so much for joining us. And also, as stated a few minutes ago, I will be posting the Nearpod link and code into the Google Classroom assignment by 7:45 every morning. So if you want to get yourself set up before you actually have to come on camera and come on Zoom, you will have access to all those materials. And I have Alonzo, Arabia, Ciara, Dwayne, Eddie, Giovanni, Heaven, Soraya, Samaj, Shakeem, Shaquasia, Takia. Samaj, I saw that on your Nearpod, you have Maj. Do you prefer that? Or is that just a nickname? Samaj, are you there? Okay, thank you. Be prepared to, thank you, Samaj, for letting me know. Be prepared to unmute in case I also cold call you guys. And if there's any reason like your mic isn't working or something like that, please chat me so that way I can come back to you and give you a prompt that you can reply to in the chat, or find a way to make sure that we are getting all of those participation points as much as possible. Great. Make sure you have your screen set up with Google Classroom, with your Google Chrome or whatever internet browser that you use, with your Google assignment and Nearpod up, and on the right-hand side, your Zoom. And we are going to transition into the Do Now. You can find the Do Now in the Google Classroom assignment, but I'm also going to post it into the chat right now. The Do Now is now available. You will have 5 minutes to complete. 5 minutes, which starts now. I'm going to put the Do Now back into the chat. That is the newest link. You have 4 more minutes. Three more minutes. Thank you, Shaquasia. Thank you, Ciara. I have your guys' responses. Thank you, Heaven. Thank you, Giovanni. Thank you, Shakeem. Thank you, Soraya. Thank you, Alonzo. You have 90 seconds left. Thank you, Arabia. "45 more seconds to finish up your responses. Thank you, Leah. Thank you, Leah, for your really detailed responses. Thank you to Kia. 15 more seconds. Go ahead and finish up whatever your thought is and click that submit button. Great. Go ahead and click submit if you haven't done so already. Thank you, Dwayne. Thank you, Dion. And I'm going to share my screen, and I want us to focus in here on Giovanni's response. So Giovanni, can you please elaborate on your thinking for question number 1 and question number 2? Like, why those answers?
For the first one,
Mm-hmm.
I said that the Indians weren't going to cooperate with the Europeans because they basically just came and started demanding that the Indians should easily conform to their like religion and their style of doing things without having a different approach about it. They just came and were demanding, and the Indians weren't going to like cooperate with them easily. So that's why I put that. And then the second one, these things are still happening today, and they started around that time when the Europeans had came to America. So it's like, even though that happened a real long time ago, it's still happening today, and that's like the starting point.
Great. Giovanni, I really love your responses, but I'm going to push them a little bit. Can you point out one piece of textual evidence to support your argument from the passage?
For which question? The first one or the second one?
Either of them.
For the first one, it says, so you killed the Indians, tortured them, burned their villages, burned their cornfields, improved your
Superiority.
Superiority in spite of your failures.
Great. So something I really want to point out with Giovanni's responses is that Giovanni's responses are correct, but the best way in history to assert our correct answers is to go back to the text and find that evidence. So when we are completing our exit ticket, I want all of us to keep this skill in mind of using our textual evidence or our evidence from today's lecture to help reinforce whatever argument we are making. So I'm going to stop sharing. Let's go ahead and redirect ourselves back to the Nearpod. Give us 30 seconds to reset our screens. Great. Okay. And we are going to come back to Yes, I can send the link to the Nearpod. I shall do that right now. The link to the Nearpod is now in the chat for anybody that was unable to get in it earlier. Today, we are going to do the second part of our 1491 to 1607 lecture with a new essential question. Arabia, can you read the essential question out for us today, please?
How did European arrival change North America?
Great. And as a reminder, you can either choose to take Nearpod notes. You can either take your notes in the Nearpod so long as they get submitted to me via email or attached to your Google Classroom assignment, or you can do paper and pencil Cornell note style. I know I'm a paper and pencil person, so if you want to go more old school, that is 100% understandable. And I have our first slide modeled with our Cornell note strategy. So I'm going to give us 30 seconds to set up our Cornell notes to for the first slide to match the ones I have up on the Nearpod. And then we will come back to it. Fifteen more seconds to set up our page. Great, now let's remember the strategies for Cornell notes. What should be going in the left-hand column of our Cornell notes tracking or mic off TISA? TISA, if there's a technical issue, please message me. I will come back to you later. What should be going in the left-hand side of our Cornell notes Yabdi?
On the left-hand side?
The left-hand side, the smaller side.
Okay. Should be our essential question and key terms.
Mm-hmm. And what should be going in the larger right-hand side, Eddie?
Wait, can you repeat that?
What should we be putting in the right-hand side of our Cornell notes?
I have no idea.
You have no idea. Can I get a hand to help Eddie out? Heaven, go ahead. Sorry, Heaven, we didn't hear you. Thank you, Heaven. I think we're having an issue with your connection, so the mic was lagging, but I'll come back to you. Shakeem, I saw your hand up.
In the right hand side, you should have the topic, like of the article, and then like the details that are in the article that relate to the topic.
Awesome. Thank you, Shakeem. Eddie, can you stamp that for us?
Shaquille said, it's our key details.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so the general body of the notes. So all of the really, really small things that I talk about in the lecture. So this is what the first slide is going to look like, and let's go ahead and get started on the actual lecture. So after Columbus's arrival in the Bahamas, European powers fought really hard for control over this new world that they found. England would largely failed at first, like awful. They established a colony in Roanoke, North Carolina, which disappeared without a trace in 1785. So when they tried, it was gone. And it didn't have a successful settlement until Jamestown in 1607. Again, England did not have a successful colony or settlement until Jamestown in 1607. Give you guys 10 seconds to make sure that's down. And we're back. The French established their first colony a year later in 1608 in Quebec, Canada, or what is now today Canada. And a year after that, 1609, the Dutch founded New Amsterdam. New Amsterdam. Amsterdam is spelled Amsterdam. And New Amsterdam is now known as New York City. So while the French, Dutch, and English were on the northern side of the East Coast, the Spanish were establishing colonies in present-day Florida, New Mexico, Texas, and California. Although Columbus spurred a lot of competition for domination of the Americas, the rest of Europe didn't really have a strong attachment to North America until the 1600s. That is the end of our first slide. I'll give you guys 20 seconds to finish your notes.
Miss Wild,
Mhm.
Can you repeat that last part that you said?
The last part about Columbus.
Yes.
Yes. So Columbus, when Columbus arrived in the New World, there was a lot of competition for domination of the Americas, but the rest of Europe didn't really have a chance until the 1600s. So it took 100 years for the rest of Europe to start having any chance of establishing colonies in the New World. For further elaboration. Great. Now let's continue. Now we're going to shift our focus to how the indigenous Americans were treated in North America. One aspect that made each European power unique was its treatment of the natives. And it quickly connected to why they were exploring the New World in the first place. The Spanish quickly destroyed the Aztec and Incan empires of Central America. So the Spanish destroyed the Aztec and Incan empires of Central America through conquest and the spread of disease. And absolutely devastated indigenous populations. The Spanish destroyed the Aztec empires through conquest and the spread of disease. The Spanish also began a new form of forced labor known as encomienda. Encomienda is spelled E-N-C-O-M-I-E-N-D-A. And encomienda is a form of forced slavery. And the believed agreement from the Spanish side was, we will protect indigenous Americans if they are forced to work on our farms or in our mines. So it is a form of slavery. There was a priest, named Bartolome de las Casas. I'm going to spell that for you. His first name is spelled B-A-R-T-O-L-O-M-E. And his last name is de las Casas, which is D-E space L-A-S space C-A-S-A-S. And he did not approve of the encomienda system and spoke heavily against Spanish treatment of Native Americans. But there were other priests like Juan de Sepulveda, Juan De Sepulveda. And priests like Juan de Sepulveda defended encomienda and said that natives were subhuman. And we are going to learn more about this debate next week. 15 more seconds to finish writing down your notes for that slide. So again, we have these two schools of thought in the Spanish. Those that defended encomienda, defended the slavery of Native Americans, and those like de las Casas who spoke out against it. Now, we are going to transition to the treatment of Indigenous Americans from the sides of the French and the English. In contrast to the Spanish, the English arrived looking to set up permanent settlements. So that's the idea that they would come, arrive, and stay. Some fled religious persecution, like the Pilgrims, and others worked as indentured servants. Indentured servants. Make sure you have that written down. And some came hoping to make a lot of money. And because of these motivations, the English settlers didn't necessarily push down Native Americans, but instead pushed them further west. So the English wanted very little to do with Native Americans, and again, wanted to push them further west so they could create these permanent settlements. Ten seconds to make sure we have that written down. And this interaction of pushing natives further west would define centuries of conflict between Native Americans and English colonists and their descendants. So again, this idea of pushing further west is going to set up conflict for the next 3 to 4 centuries between Native Americans and the English descendants, and is going to be a recurring theme throughout this class. I'm going to pause here for a moment. As a reminder, these classes are being recorded. So if you get confused based off of the content or feel like you're not writing down everything right away, you do have the opportunity to come back and re-watch parts of these lectures or join me for office hours, and I can fill in some of this content, because I am going to have to make sure we're moving along relatively quickly in certain lectures. So just as a heads up, you will always have access to these because they are being recorded. So don't feel like don't be overly stressed trying to write everything down in case you're missing something. Back to the lecture. Now let's transition to the French. The French were mostly interested in establishing a fur trade, which required positive relationships with Native Americans. Again, if you are going to trade with Native Americans, you have to have positive relationships with them. And so to do this, the French built trading posts. Where they could interact with local Native Americans. To accomplish this, they also were a part of a quote unquote cultural exchange. A cultural exchange. And a cultural exchange means that the French take aspects of native culture and integrate that into their own, and the natives take aspects of French culture and bring that into their own. And one of the ways they do this is through intermarriage, which is marriage between usually French male settlers and local native women. And the important thing about the French intermarriage is that it was usually consensual. The Spanish forced native women to marry them, whereas the French consented usually with the tribe or the family, which is why the French are usually believed to have more positive relationships. "15 more seconds to finish the notes on the French and English. So again, the French and the natives were a part of intermarriage, and it was consensual intermarriage. We are going to skip the slavery in the Caribbean slide because I'll integrate that into one of our next lectures. And I'm going to send us into the Nearpod, where you are going to take 3 minutes to answer today's essential question. How did European arrival change North America? And I want to remind us about our action step from the Do Now. Make sure we are using evidence from the lecture to back up our statements or our assertions. 3 minutes to answer the question in the Nearpod. Go ahead and get started. Kaishan, am I saying your name correctly?
Yes.
Great. Love your response, and you're definitely bringing in some of the summer reading. Really great evidence.
Thank you.
You have 1 minute left. Great, Giovanni, I have your response. Shaquasia, I have yours. We have 25 seconds to go ahead and start finishing up those thoughts and clicking submit. Great, Takia, I have yours. Yabdi, I just saw your response. Thank you for letting me know that you're having some tech issues, which we are actually about done with Nearpod. Thank you guys so much for all of that really great work on your essential question and for all of those notes. As a reminder, make sure that you are submitting those notes in addition to your exit ticket. But we are now going to be, thank you so much for flagging that for me. If you can just star next to where you answer the essential question. If you can star where you answered the essential question, just so that way I can make sure I look for that specifically. As you guys remember, last year, you did a lot of work with AP Classroom for AP World History, and you are going to be doing it a lot more this year as you are taking multiple AP classes. So today, we are going to use the last 8 minutes to get us signed up for our AP Classroom. And so I am going to be sending out your guys' exit ticket, which has a lot of these instructions as well as a content review question from today's lecture. Copy the link and send it out. And this is how, and we are going to, sorry guys, I don't mean to be all over the place. We are going to review how to sign up for an AP class and go ahead and do that. So that way we are all ready to go and starting this early so there's no stress in October. Let's see. Adarius, can you read bullet point 1, please? Okay. Leah, can you read bullet point 1, please?
Is that on the Nearpod?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Get your join codes. Your AP teacher will give you a join code so you can join his or her class section online. You'll receive a unique code for each AP class you're taking and will need to enter each separately.
Beautiful. Dion, can you read bullet point 2, please?
Use the College Board username and password to sign into My AP. This is the same login you use to access your AP scores, PSAT, NMSQT scores, or register for the SAT, or that you used to access My AP last year. If you never had a College Board account, you can create one via sign-up link.
Great. And if you are in here and you do not have a College Board account, hold off and Ms. Catlett and I will talk to you about setting up a College Board account because it can get a little complicated. And Alonzo, can you read 3 through 5, please? Alonzo, if you're having tech issues, please reach out to me. Kaishan, can you please read 3 through 5 for us?
Yep.
Do you see the slide on your pod?
Yeah, sorry. My phone is acting a little funny right now. You said 4 through 5, right?
Yes, 3 through 5.
Okay, so enter the join code your teacher gave you and click submit, and then make sure the information that comes up is for the course you are taking. If it is, click yes.
Great. Thank you so much. So that code right there is what we are going to be using, Y72VK7. That is also in your exit ticket, which I am sending via the chat right now. You can leave once you both submit the exit ticket and sign on to AP Classroom and join the class. Great. Arabia, Alonzo, Mahmoud, and Giovanni, I have you in APUSH. So once you submit your exit ticket, you are good to go. Thank you guys so much for all your hard work today. Feel free to raise your hand if you have any questions about the tech. Giovanni, I have you in here. Shakim, I have you in here. 5 down, woo! Remember to also submit your classroom notes.
I just turned in the exit ticket.
Great, and Kaishan, do you have a College Board account from your old school?
I actually don't know.
Okay, I will reach out to Ms. Catlett and see if she has that information from your school. Did you take an AP class, or have you taken an AP class or a PSAT or anything like that before?
I think I have.
Okay, I'll reach out to Ms. Catlett and we will try to set up a meeting with you via Zoom during one of your breaks next week, so that way we can get you signed up as smoothly as possible.
Okay.
Thank you so much. And
No problem.
exit ticket is in, you're good to go.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Ciara, I have you in AP Classroom. Shaquasia, I have you. Again, feel free to use the hand raise feature if you're having issues with the tech. Leah, I just saw your message. Can you unmute and tell me what you're seeing?
Like when I type it in, it says, "Oh, there's no class that is that."
In AP Classroom?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have it copied down exactly with the capital letters and everything?
Yep.
Y72VK7?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, try for me one more time. And if it doesn't work, I don't want to keep you later, and I will, I'll reach out to you one-on-one, okay? Because I don't want you to lose all 10 minutes of your break. Skyan, I have you in here. And Soraya, I have you in here. Dion, I just saw your message. Let me see if I can find it. We're gonna go until 8:55 so that way we can get as many in here as possible, but I don't want you to lose all of your break before you go to your next class. And we can take some time during office hours to get us all signed up as well. Yes, Shakeem, I have it. You're good to go. Bye, Arabia. Have a good rest of your day. Okay, that's weird because the code's working for some people. Okay, it's all good. This is why we do this early. Always do tech stuff early. Dion, I am looking for your password now. There's just a lot in here. Okay, here we go. Okay, Dion, I am sending you your username and your password. The first is your username and the second is your password. Okay, I see from Leah and Alexis, we're having the same issue, which is interesting. So I will talk to Ms. Catlett and see what we can figure out. Heaven, let me see if I have your password in my materials. Okay, we're gonna do this for 2 more minutes and then I'm gonna send you guys away so that way you can get, have the chance to like use the restroom, find a drink or do what you need to do. Heaven, I just sent you your password. Takia, I have you. So far I have Soraya, Arabia, Shakeem, Skyan, Alonzo, Mahmoud, Takia, Giovanni, Ciara, and Shaquasia into Google Classroom. I mean, into AP Classroom. So many classrooms, which is a great start. Alonzo, you can go ahead and leave Zoom. Your exit ticket is in and you are signed up for AP Classroom for the AP exam. So you're good to go. Leah and Alexa still in here? Leah is. Leah, I'm gonna send you a link. If you're still in here and able, try going through this. Eddie, I see your message. I will set up a time with you where we can do this one-on-one. So that way you can figure this out. And Heaven, here is what I have for your username. Thank you guys so much for your patience. I know that it has been a very long week with a lot of different technology, but you guys have been absolute troopers about it. Caleb, I have you in here. Okay, Dion, I'll touch base with you one-on-one on that. And Eddie, yes, you can go. Which I'm gonna go ahead and have you guys go ahead and submit whatever you have. It's all good. It's the first week of school. I have you in AP Classroom. And if you did not get signed in, I will set up a special like one-on-one with you guys on office hours. So we are not stressed for time. and we can do it at our own pace. So you guys have a wonderful rest of your morning and a great next class. Bye, Takia. See you on Monday. Bye, Heaven. See you Monday.
Is your class next? Or are you done?
I'm done.
You want to stop recording for a second?